My name is Venkatesh and I teach economy here. Let's see today's agenda, which I will be dealing with. What are teaching papers? Then I'll be analyzing the economy in prelims and mains examination. Then how our TGPSC classes will go. Right. Now, firstly, as Venkat sir said, we follow the method called reverse engineering technique. What is this reverse engineering technique? Generally, what happens is we will be studying some reference books, then you will be revising them, you will be writing the test series, then you will go to the exam, right? But most of the times, why people fail? Because we have vast syllabus. It is like an ocean. We don't think of reducing the syllabus like a sea. If ocean becomes a sea, it is somewhat, we can swim in it, right? So that we need to do as a smart student. For that one, reverse engineering technique will help. What is this reverse engineering technique? Till now, TGPSC have conducted 3 examinations of Group 1, right? In 2022, they have conducted one prelims examination. 23, they have conducted one, and 24, they have conducted. So, how many papers do you have? You have 3 papers, which have 450 questions. So, you have 450 questions in your bank. And these 450 questions will be 450 themes. Like if they have asked about president, if they have asked about Pradhan Mantri Gram Jyoti Yojana. So like that, you have one theme on which a question is asked. So those themes are the most important which TGPSC likes. Let's say there is a board which gives question papers. They have one mindset this year. Will it change drastically in the upcoming 4 to 5 years? Will it change? No, right? So the board will think in the same manner when they are giving the questions. They won't think drastically. For a reference, as we don't have too many notifications in TGPSC, I'll be taking the example of UPSC. UPSC from 2014 till today, till 2024, in 11 years, they depended on a ratio of each type of questions. Means whether they need to give conceptual questions, whether they need to give analytical questions, or whether they need to give current affairs based questions. Every time the paper is somewhat moderate to tough, but every concept will be covered. That is a similar pattern of UPSC, except in the year 2016, where 70% of the paper, like 70 questions out of 100 questions, are only current affairs. That is the drastic change which happened in UPSC on that particular year. Except that particular year, which is an anomaly, UPSC followed the same pattern. They'll be seeing what is happening. Kumbh Mela. Kumbh Mela is happening and some people are dying, but every day it is hosting 1 to 5 crore population as it is a Mahakumbh Mela. So this is a significant cultural event. And trust me, in 2025, you will see that question in UPSC examination and hopefully in TGPSC Group 1 examination too, because it is a part of the culture. Right. So UPSC and TGPSC, they have similar mindsets only. These public service commissions have similar mindset only. Like they think about what is happening, then they take the theme and then they will give the background of the question. In general, they will around some years, 4 to 5 years, they don't see a change in their thought process. So that's why previous year questions play a major role. If we see 2022, 23, 24, in the context of economy, generally the economy, what do you think? Economy means, yes, banking will be there, the Reserve Bank of India will be there, inflation is there. These are the concepts, right? In 2022, what happened is TSPSC, then it is TSPSC, right? TSPSC asked about only schemes, only policies. Okay, right. I thought, okay, this is an anomaly. In 2023, they asked the same. Okay. In 2024, they asked the same. So why they asked that one, we'll be seeing in the coming slides. But they followed a similar pattern. They want students to understand the ground reality where the schemes are getting implemented. What is the economic perspective of the schemes which are getting implemented? TGPSC wants to see the students in that manner. That's why they followed a similar pattern. So if at all a student who wrote 2022 paper, 2023 mock test paper, if I can call it, if they wrote them and if they have revised them, they could have easily wrote 2024 paper without any, that happened without any drastic changes. So now it is your opportunity to go through these 450 themes and make a list of topics which are more important from examination point of view. Then you don't cover 100% of syllabus, but 70% syllabus will be covered, which is enough, right? So 70% you are sure. 30% the value addition, the time that you can give will decide your score. So more or less you will definitely get qualified. So minimum guarantee is reverse engineering technique, where previous year questions are taken from them, themes will be extracted from them, classes will be held, then test series will be held, then you will be going to the exam. So that's why we rely on reverse engineering technique. Now, how this reverse engineering technique can be included in the classes? That is the biggest question that we got before starting the classes. So how will we do? If you see, we call this as teaching paper, which is like a Bible for us, where whenever we are actually teaching the classes, like Bible, Bhagavad Gita, Quran, right? So why we call this as a from what itihasa for us? Why we call it as a sacred book? Here, what we are doing is, first, for every topic that we teach, we give what is the chapter name, we give what is the topic that we are teaching, we give what are the dimensions that we will be teaching in that class, then we'll give what are the prelims questions that came in that particular topic. Let's say that there is a topic called inflation. What are the subtopics in it? What is inflation? What are the different types of inflation? How do you measure the inflation? How is inflation currently? These are the 4 questions, that those are the dimensions. Next, I'll be seeing what are the previous questions that came on inflation. I'll be giving those prelims previous year questions. Here what happened? First, by syllabus, I am analyzing the syllabus first. So all the topics will come. Then in those topics, I am taking the pre-AQs. Then I am actually narrowing them down so that mains PYQs are there. So mains PYQs also we will see. Then we will give the complete content of the topics that we want to teach in the class. In this manner, what happens is, you will have a logical flow on where to concentrate more, where to concentrate less. Let's say from here, he is from Suryapet. So from here to Suryapet, if you need to go by bus, where does the bus stop? Or what is the place that you can remember? Uppal. And then does it cover only Uppal? There are other places that will cover, right? Hayat Nagar, it will cover. Then there will be other places. There are smaller places which it covers but are not recognized. Here, what we are doing, we will be studying in depth those topics that are more important from prelims previous year questions perspective. Let's say that on different types of inflation, there are 4 questions which repeated from previous year questions. We will be studying it time and again, revising it time and again. But there is another aspect, like let's say inflation, consumer price inflation, they have given only 1 question previously. We will be getting the overview of the topic and we will be knowing the topic. But we will concentrate on different types of inflation more. So if we concentrate 70% on it, we concentrate 100% on it. So that more concentration will be on those topics which are more important from previous year questions perspective. And you will get to know that because of this particular teaching paper, that we are doing it for every topic that we teach in the class. That we will give you as a handout, and this will be your class notes. And we will be discussing in the class like the way that I have discussed. This is the class that we have discussed, and we will be giving you this PPT also we will be giving you. So along with the teaching papers that we teach in the class, which we prepare using reverse engineering technique, going through all the previous year questions, that includes prelim syllabus and main syllabus. and all the syllabus that is given in the notification will be just arranging you accordingly, where you need to concentrate more, where you need to concentrate less. Then, yeah, after studying any topic, if you don't solve the questions, whether you will get to know whether you got the topic or not, you need to solve the questions. For that particular thing only, we will be giving you the questions at the end of every topic where you need to solve, so that we'll get to know whether you have understood the class or not. And then you will be writing mains questions every day. Mains questions every day you will be writing, and you will be submitting to us through an email. Okay. Now, every day we will teach a class. From 8 to 10:30, there will be one class where economy will start. From 11 to 1:30, there is another class where history will start. So these two subjects, they'll happen for 6 days. They'll happen for 5 days, from Monday to Friday. Then on Saturday, current affairs class will happen. So on all these topics, you'll be given 1 week time from next Monday to next Saturday to prepare. Then on Sunday, you'll be having a prelims come mains test on the topics that were taught in the previous week. So that every time when you prepare for the examination, you will get checks whether you got the topic or not. Then when you get to know that you have written that particular test well, then you will move on to the next topic. Likewise, we will ensure the student to prepare simultaneously along with the classes, so that you will definitely be on par with the students who are preparing from 5 to 6 years. We will ensure that. So this is the significance of the teaching paper that we have developed using previous year questions, and every topic that we give, we will give these teaching papers. If we don't give teaching papers, then I think Venkat sir have shown you what is the tracking sheet, right? Tracking sheet he has shown you, right, at the end of the class. Yeah, it is like a checklist, whether we have covered the topic in the class or not. So if we have that checklist, we have that teaching paper, we have the PPT, we have the class notes. 4 things are there, where if you link all of those, then your preparation will be very smooth, along with the tests that you need to write. Okay, this is the pattern of classes. Now, coming back to Coming back to why TGPSC, I think 2 to 3 slides that I'll be teaching you. Why TGPSC Group 1 is important. Why Group 2 or Group 3 or Group 4 is not important? Why? Because you are taking TGPSC Group 1 classes, right? You are not taking Group 2 classes or Group 4 classes. Why? Yes, definitely. Do you not? Will you not be posted as officer if you prepare for Group 2? Yes. MRO. First thing, when you prepare for Group 1, it is like an umbrella preparation, where Group 2 will come, Junior Assistant will come, Group 4 will come, DAO will come. Every exam that you want to write within Telangana, you can write by taking TGPSC Group 1 classes. Because Revanth Reddy is actually saying there will be around 50,000 posts in the coming year. Yes, coming into practicality, if there are at least 10,000, then definitely you can write any examination where general studies is there using these classes, because it is the highest standard of preparation in a state. If it is in a country, it is UPSC. But UPSC students who are preparing for civil services cannot write mains examination of Telangana without preparing Telangana, because 40% of the syllabus in mains examination is on Telangana topics. So that is where you have an edge to that of UPSC aspirants. That's why you need to study 60% national syllabus, 40% Telangana syllabus. You need to mix them, right? Now, I'll be concentrating mainly on economy, but I'll be just showing you what are the topics that we have. Firstly, in mains examination, in mains examination, you have general essay, right? When somebody says economy, they will not look it as a whole picture. They will only look it as paper 4. Paper 4, we have 150 marks, which is of economy and development. That's it. They look at that one only. But economy, if you study well, yeah, issues of economic growth and justice, education and human resource development. These are the two economic topics on which general essay can be asked, right? So if at all you have two topics, if you can write two topics, then 15 to 200, along with 150, you will be having 250 marks in your hand in mains examination if you prepare economy well. Then our economy is paper 4. Our economy is paper 4. What are the sections in economy? First, Indian economy and development. Then we have 50 marks of Telangana economy. 50 marks. Then we have development and environmental problems, where environmental perspective of economy will be there. Okay. Now I want you to tell an answer. Whether economic development is important or environmental protection is important. Environmental protection without economic development, you will be poor. Economic development without environmental protection, you will die. Simple. So you need to balance both. If you balance both, then only you can move forward. For that one only, Telangana Group 1, they have kept development and environment problems as a separate section. For you will have 50 marks on this particular section. Now, in prelims examination, whether you will be having the core concept that they will be asking, or whether you will have the policies and overview of economy and development. Let me tell you. Here, they have given policies of Telangana state as a separate topic. Then, economic and social development of India. They have given 2. But looking at 2022, 23, 24 question papers of prelims examination, they are not concentrating on core concepts of economy, like inflation, like banking. They are not concentrating on them like UPSC. They are concentrating more towards the schemes that they are asking, then the policies, then what is happening in Telangana. So, I think recently Fiscal Health Index of 2025 is released by Niti Aayog. You know Niti Aayog, right? What is Niti Aayog? Niti Aayog is a body which replaced Planning Commission. Planning Commission was there previously, which used to plan everything. And in that place, Niti Aayog came. When it came, it started long-term planning. When you need to do long-term planning, you need to have your debt sustainable. Like, let's say that you have 100 rupees. If you take 1000 rupees from someone else, and then every month you are earning 100 rupees only, then every month you are taking 1000 rupees as loan from others. Can you actually give it back anytime? You can't give it back. Why? Because the income, that revenue that you are earning is not proportional to the expenditure or loan that you are taking. You are taking 1000 crores loan. Every month you are taking loan, but your revenue is not that much. Then the debt becomes unsustainable. You cannot pay it back. That is what is happening in Telangana also and in Andhra Pradesh also. But comparatively, Telangana situation is better. Comparatively, Telangana situation is better. So what happens to TGPSC then? They'll see this fiscal health index. Then they'll look at this debt sustainability. Then they'll ask the questions on it. They'll ask the questions on debt sustain, whether debt is sustainable or not. How is the budget? How much budget allocations are happening recently? What are the revenue receipts which are happening? How much expenditure is happening? So they look at the recent current affairs and look and give you the topics of budget and economic survey more, rather than the core concepts in prelims. Now, sir, whether I need to study the core concepts? Whether you need to study the core concepts? Definitely yes, but why? Yes. they will ask you the second floor questions, but you need to study the foundation, the ground floor questions. Without ground floor, there is no second floor. So you need to build your basics strong, then you can write those questions very easily. Simple as that. So that's why you need to study these basic concepts as much as possible, and you need to be thorough with them. And we will be discussing those basic concepts with many examples. Now, coming to mains examination, here they'll touch more about basic concepts rather than in the prelims. If you see, the first topic, national income, concept and measurement of national income, nominal and real income. What is meant by national income? First of all, national income is nothing but the income which is earned by all the people in this economy, in this territory, in this India. That is called national income in a general perspective. But we have a bigger definition. What is net national product at factor cost and net national product at market price? We will be looking at them in the class. Okay. So this is the national income which we will be looking at next. Structure and growth of Indian economy. So what are the different types of sectors that we have? First, agriculture we have, right? Now, industry we have, right? Services we have. Now, these are the three different sectors which are driving our economy. So now we will be looking at how this agricultural sector is changing over a time period. Whether more people are practicing agriculture or they are shifting to industry, or they are skipping industry, they are shifting to services. That we will be looking at, the trends we will be looking at. Okay. Next, poverty and unemployment. So this is the concept of economic development. Can anybody tell me basic difference? I am telling economic development. Then there is another concept called economic growth. What is the difference between both?
And the development means along with the GDP and the human resources, how the human development will be.
Very good. Very good. So economic growth means you will be just looking at the income that is coming. You will be looking at per capita income of everyone. But if it is economic development, you will be looking at how healthy they are, how qualified they are for any job. So these are the aspects that you look at for economic development. So these days, Indian government and even Telangana government is giving more preference to economic development. That's why poverty and unemployment they have given in the mains examination. Now, money and banking. This is again a core concept. This is one of the core concepts, which is national income. Then money and banking, which is a core concept, where we will be looking at what is monetary policy statement, what are different types of monetary policy tools that RBI uses in order to control the liquidity in Indian economy. Right. So if you have too much of inflation, like let's say if you have 7 or 8% of inflation, then what will RBI do? Okay, too much of money is there in the economy. I need to squeeze it so that inflation will reduce. Why they are targeting inflation? Why they are targeting inflation only from 2014? That we will be discussing in the classes in entirety. Okay. So these are the topics that we will be seeing in money and banking. Now, public finance. Here there is, when it comes to money and banking, it is monetary policy. When it comes to public finance, it is fiscal policy. What is the difference between both? Monetary policy is by RBI. They will control the economy. RBI will control the economy through various monetary policy tools. It is called monetary policy. Fiscal policy is government controlling the economy through its mechanism. Okay. Now, what are the different reform? What is fiscal policy? About recent budget? What are different types of taxes that are introduced? Right, these we will be looking at. Now, next, planning in Indian economy. So even when planning commission was removed, Niti Aayog is there. Planning should be done for any economy. Planning should be done. That's why. What are the strategies? Different strategies that are coming in Telangana or that are coming in India, they will be asking in this particular chapter. Next, LPG reforms. Till 1991, India is a closed economy where it doesn't have too much of foreign trade. Too much of foreign trade. It is more. There are more number of taxes import and export. There are more number of import and export duties which restricted the freedom of trade with different countries. But from 1991, those restrictions were removed completely, which is liberalization, right? So these reforms are more important from the economic perspective, which changed the direction of Indian economy in its entirety. So that's why LPG reforms we need to see. Next, in Telangana economy, where they will concentrate. So, sir, I am reading Indian economy. Then Telangana economy, I don't know at all. I don't know even 1% of Telangana economy. How will I write? Whether I can write it or not. Don't worry at all. If you study Indian economy, if you are studying about GDP, which is gross domestic product, the same thing implied to Telangana, gross state domestic product. If you are studying about per capita income of India, the same thing implied to Telangana. So whenever you are studying we are studying about India, study about Telangana too. I will be teaching in the same way for the class also, because I will be teaching in comparative format. When what is happening in India at the same point of time, what is happening in Telangana? If you look at both of them at a time, you will see whether Telangana is developing more than India or whether Telangana is lagging behind. You will get to know about it. So our classes will be in a comparative perspective whenever it comes to application oriented topics rather than the core topics. Core topics, money and banking, we can't see in a comparative perspective. But when it comes to application oriented topics, the comparative based classes only will be there. Okay. Now, the first thing in, I think from 1948 till today, there are different types. First, Telangana was under Nizam. So how Telangana's economy was under the Nizam, that we will be looking at. Then Telangana was became somewhat backward when it was a part of Andhra Pradesh. So how Telangana's economy as a reason was there in Andhra Pradesh economy. Then Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act and what happened to Telangana thereafter. So this is the process that we will be studying. This is the economic history of Telangana that we will be studying. Okay. Now, human resources. So mostly in a state perspective, the demographic transition is important. So what comes under human resources? How much healthier the population is. So what are the different types of demographic structures that are available in Telangana? Right? What is the educational pattern in Telangana? So these are the concepts that we will be looking at. But we won't look them in from multiple choice questions perspective. We will be looking them from multiple choice questions perspective as well as mains perspective. It is called PCM, prelims come mains. Like let's say you have Telangana economy in Hyderabad state. You need to prepare for Telangana group 1. How you will be preparing? What are the Salarjung? I think we all know there is a Salarjung museum in Hyderabad, but we won't know what he did to Telangana. He was a modern master of Telangana's economy, Hyderabad's economy, if I can say. Right. So what we will be looking at? What are the Salarjung reforms? We will be looking from prelims perspective. Then from mains perspective, we need to see how Salarjung changed the economy of Nizam government when it was under too severe losses, when it became indebted to British government. How Salarjung came into the picture and reforms and took reforms for Nizam administration. We will be writing them in 200 words. Right. So that is how we will look at any topic from prelims as well as mains perspective, both. I hope you are getting it right. Am I clear? Okay, done. Next, land reforms. Why land reforms is important? I think land reforms is somewhat a failure of Indian and Telangana governments, because land reforms did not happen. If land reforms have happened, India would be a communist government rather than the market economy, because in China, land reforms happened. Right. So land reforms is somewhat a failure in India. That is actually a learning lesson for India. So that's why we will see what are the land reforms that happened, why it became a failure in different parts. In tribal areas, why land reforms became a failure. In assigned areas, why land reforms become a failure. What are the different committees that were formed on land reforms? So what were the different acts that were brought in order to implement the land reforms but could not implement because of the inequalities that were there in Telangana as we are studying about Telangana. Okay, right. Next, agricultural and allied sectors. These are the comparative based topics. These are the comparative based topics. Here I am looking at sectoral wise development, right? So whenever I am looking at agricultural and allied sectors, I can look at from Indian perspective, I can look at from Telangana perspective. If I teach you both, then you will get to know whether Telangana's agriculture is somewhat improving or whether Indian agriculture is somewhat behind, right? So that I can tell you clearly. The trends. Next, industry and service sectors. These sectors, recently, more number of white papers came, more number of policies came. For Telangana's group 1 students who wrote it in 2024, they have very less number of policies for them to write, because then only the new government was formed and the more number of policies did not come into picture. But by the time you write the mains examination, the Congress government policies are more important, and you need to study them as much as possible. So because more number of questions will be coming on them. Now, yeah. So what are the reference books that you need to study? In general, did you prepare for group 2 previously? Yeah. So if you are prepared for any examination, NCERT books are the core concept that you need to study. Without NCERT books, do not go for any books. Go first for NCERT books. NCERT class 11 and class 12. Economic development. There is a book called Economic Development of class 11th and class 12th. The macroeconomics and microeconomics. What do you mean by macroeconomics? If we see the economic indicators which impact the entire nation or entire state, those are called macroeconomic concepts. If we study those concepts that affect individual, those are called microeconomic topics, right? So we will be looking at both of them, and you need to study the NCERT books of class 11 and class 12. Microeconomics and macroeconomics of class 11, economic development in India of class 12. Those two books are more important. NCERT class 11 and class 12. Then, from Telangana's perspective, Telangana economy book published by Telugu Academy. So if it is, I think these days it is not in the market because they have published very less number of books. But you need to purchase that book whenever the budget gets released, because after they implement the budget, then the book that came into the market is of more relevance rather than the book which was released previously. So now I think Telangana will introduce a budget, right? When India introduces a budget, Parliament introduces a budget, then in 1 month Telangana will also introduce a budget. Then whenever the notification gets raised, Telugu Academy will be releasing a book that you need to purchase. NCERT books we will be giving from our end, and the gist of Telangana's budget and socio-economic outlook we will be giving from our end. But Telugu Academy books that you need to purchase, because we don't know when they will be getting released, the new books. So that's why we are not promising them. We will be giving those books, the budget and socio-economic outlook of Telangana, complete gist we will give. Complete NCERT books. There are 23 books of NCERT that includes all the subjects that we will be giving from our end when you join the classes. Next, from economic perspective, along with Telugu Academy book for Telangana, there are two more important documents: Telangana budget and socio-economic outlook. So this Telugu Academy book and Telangana budget and socio-economic outlook just are enough for entire 50 marks for mains examination and 11 to 13 marks in prelims examination. Why? Because most of the times you will be studying in a comparative perspective. When you are studying for Telangana or Telangana economy, there is no concept that you will be studying. Only two concepts are there. First, land reforms you need to study, which will be there in Telugu Academy book. Second, demographic structure you need to study, which is there in Telugu Academy. Okay. Then Telangana economy in Hyderabad state, you need to study this book, NCAER report. I'll give you that report on Telangana. Did you hear this? Did you hear this committee? Okay, let me tell you different committee. Did you hear Sri Krishna committee? That is the report that you need to study. In Sri Krishna committee, they have given how Telangana's region performed when it is with Andhra Pradesh. Okay. Next, if you want to study more reference books, but I suggest you not to read them, because NCERT books, our teaching papers, because we make teaching papers in such a manner, we study 4 books and make it precise for you. If you want to read all reference books again, then you are wasting the time. I suggest I suggest you not to read other reference books, because these are enough. If at all you want to read, there are Vivek Singh economy book, then Shankar Ganesh for basic concepts. If you don't understand any of the topic, I don't want you to go for the reference books. If you don't understand any of the topics, just come to me. I will explain it time and again. I will explain it. Why I can explain? Because most of the masters, like all the masters except 2 masters, who are guest lecturers for us. All the 11 lecturers who will be teaching, all the 11 masters who will be teaching in the classes, they will be there in the academy from 9:30 to 6. They will be preparing your teaching papers. They will be preparing different videos for you. They will be teaching you the classes. So all the masters who are teaching you in the class, we are ensuring zero cancellation of classes because of it, because we have in-house masters who are teaching for every subject. Though there are 2 other guest lecturers who are government officers, they are also teaching with us, because we have a we want them to mentor the students with their experience. That's why we also added them. Okay, right. Next. So, budget and economic survey of India, budget and socio-economic outlook of Telangana. These 4 books are more important, and I will be giving you the gist of all those 4 books. And along with that, NCERT books we will be giving you. Now, the only thing that you need to purchase is Telugu Academy Telangana Economic Textbook, because as of now, it is not available in market. We tried to purchase it, and I want you to purchase when the new budget and socio-economic outlook gets released. Okay, then it is more useful. Now, so from prelims perspective, if you see, more or less, you have same number of questions in the last 3, 2022, 23, 24. In economic and social development, the number of questions reduced. Here, if you see, in 2024, the number of questions of policies increased and number of questions on economic development decreased. So this is the analysis that I have done from my end for economic and social development and policies of Telangana state. So more number of questions. So how they are asking about the questions? Let's see. Budget and economic survey, they have asked 6 questions last time. Budget and economic survey, Telangana budget and Telangana socio-economic outlook. They have asked 6 questions in prelims. So how they will ask the questions? They will not ask the questions when it is released or who released it. They will ask you, what are the tax receipts for the government, and what is the estimated fiscal deficit, and what type of budget, whether general budget is introduced or not, whether outcome budget is introduced or not, right? These are the aspects that they will be asking you. So in from group 2 perspective, you will be studying the prelims, and you will be studying the prelims for group 1 and group 2 at a time, right? So this MCQs will be useful for group 1 and group 2. From mains perspective, how they will be asking? The first question, how far has India achieved policy target of doubling farmers' income by 2022 exam? You know that what is the committee which was formed for doubling the farmers' income? You might have Yeah, you might have read it, but you didn't know how to write this one because they did not ask what is the committee. They have asked you to write what are the measures that can be implemented to increase it. Right. So this is what an analytical question that you need to write. We will be writing all the PVQs in the classes every day. Whatever PVQs of mains are there on the topic that we discussed in the class, on that particular topic, you will be writing every day. Every PVQ will be covering. Every PVQ will be covering in the classes. So, from planning perspective, replacement of planning commission by Niti Aayog has changed the approach of development planning in India. Explain. As I told you, planning commission was actually replaced by Niti Aayog. When there was planning commission, it was centralized planning. Yes, there is planning commission. There are states. It will be giving. It will be distributing the grants. But here Niti Aayog is there, with which no funds are available. It is only a think tank. All the development, all the suggestions will be given by the CMs in the governing council. So all the chief ministers are available in the governing council of Niti Aayog. So here, when planning commission was there, it was centralized planning, top-down approach. When Niti Aayog came, it was bottoms-up approach. So there is a difference. That is the change that you need to write. That is the analytical thing that you need to write in the mains question. Now, every one of you know what is multi-dimensional poverty index, right? Because we know what is what is India's rank, multi-dimensional poverty index, and who is implementing it in India. We know, right? Niti Aayog. But what they have given, they did not give about multi-dimensional poverty index. They gave about human poverty index and capability approach. This capability approach is used in multi-dimensional poverty index. This capability approach is used. Capability approach is given by Amartya Sen. This capability approach is used by multi-dimensional poverty index to give you the rankings. So they are giving it to confuse the students. If Telangana Public Service Commission have given human poverty index and multi-dimensional poverty index, then students can write them easily. But what they have given? Human poverty index and capability approach are the two ways. They want answer same. Okay, they just want you to know that which approach was used for multidimensional poverty index. So whenever you are studying any index, go back and see which agency is publishing it and what is the method that they are using. Okay. Next, let's see Telangana's questions. The land reforms in Telangana were aimed at redistributing the land from large farmers to agricultural laborers and landless poor. Yes, Bhu Samskaranalo antaru Telugulo, land reforms. As we discussed, land reforms is a failure. We know that something is not correct. Yes, Swachh Bharat, is it a success or a failure? Success. Make in India? Somewhat a success. And then if you ask me, demonetization, 2000 notes, 1000 notes raddu చేశారు కదా. Demonetization, is it a success? Debatable. Some call it a success because court's judgment came in its favor. That's why they call it as a success. But it is debatable. Then, whenever any program of the government is debatable in nature or a failure, how Telangana Public Service Commission will ask the question? Critically, this word is more important. Critically evaluate. Why land reforms are a failure in Telangana? We know that it is a failure. Why it is a failure? We need to study and we need to write. So these words are called keywords. Based on the keywords, your answer structure will change. Your answer structure will change entirely. I will be discussing that also in the classes when I am teaching you individual PYQs and their answers. Okay? And their approach, not answer. If I teach you the answer, then I am spoon feeding you. You will not develop. No. Next. Here, structural changes are reflected in trends of sectoral shares in gross state value added. Examine this in the context of trends in GSVA of Telangana since 2014. As I discussed, if at all you have studied socio-economic outlook of 2023-24, what you will focus upon? you'll see what is the growth rate in 2023-24. What is the agricultural sector growth in 2023-24? What is industry's growth in this year? But most of the times, from group 2 perspective, it is good. But from group 1 perspective, you need to see what is the trend, whether it is increasing or decreasing. Which year did it dip too low? Why it got dipped too low? In 2019-20, it got dipped too low. Why it got dipped? Pandemic, COVID pandemic. So we know the reason now. But when we see any data, we need to analyze from economic perspective. Then we get the reasons. That is what analytical answers are. You have data, but you need to analyze the data and write it. That we will do in the classes. Every report I will take, every graph we will take. We will see whether it got increased or whether it got decreased. What are the reasons behind it? These three things, if you see in the socioeconomic outlook, and at the end of the socioeconomic outlook, you'll have annexures. And in those annexures, they'll give you what for every district, they'll give you. And then we'll see which district is the top, which district is the bottom, why that district is top, and why that district is at the bottom, and what are the reasons behind it. All these things we'll be seeing in the classes. Okay. Yeah. Now from the third section. Environmental sustainability. The first question itself is environmental sustainability. Whenever sustainable development goals came, sustainable development goals are those goals that are given by United Nations for us to achieve. Yes, end poverty and hunger, increase the educational development, ensure women gets quality education, or increase sustainable urbanization, improve sanitation. These are the sustainable development goals that are given by United Nations to get implemented in every nation. And we derived it, the Niti Aayog derived it to the states also. And it is publishing Sustainable Development Goals Index, India Index. Okay. So we know this. But here, what did they ask? Critically assess the challenges. Why they have asked the challenges? Because India, I think in 2023-24, United Nations conducted a review. Which nation is on track to achieve the goals? Which nation is not on track to achieve the goals? India is on track. India is on track. So that's why they asked this question. Because what are the challenges when they reviewed about the track, when they reviewed about whether India is on track or not, then if it is not on track, then it is somewhat a failure of the government, isn't it? Because the government did not implement those measures that are helpful for the environmental sustainability. If they are not implementing it, then what are the challenges that they are facing? This is the officer's perspective that you need to have. When something is getting failed, what is the challenge that they have? Why it got failed? Then we can write the answer easily. Okay. Yeah. Sustainable, successful management of solid waste. So this is also a environmental perspective question. Next. Examine the environmental implications of replacement of conventional fossil-based fuel-based power by green power. If you see, this part is economic question, right? Power sector. This part is economic question. This part is environmental question. So that is what section 3 is. Section 3 is you have economic questions, but from environmental perspective. But from environmental perspective, how they are happening. That is what section 3 is. And then in mains, they will not be asking you about the policies directly. They will like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, or recent times Poshan Abhiyan. They will not ask you about directly about that question. They will ask you what are the measures taken by the government to improve nutrition in India. That is the question. So you know about Poshan Abhiyan. Along with them, you need to know about some of the measures taken by the government like ICDS or midday meal scheme. These are the things that you need to write. So from prelims examination, policies are very important. From mains examination, sectoral policies you need to see, because you need to write the sectoral policies. What are the measures implemented by Government of India? Prelims, you will be studying what is the objective one scheme. Who are the beneficiaries? What is the budget allocation? What are the different features of the scheme? You will be studying that. But from mains perspective, you will be studying what are the policies in that particular sector. That is the difference between prelims and mains examination. Whenever we are studying in PCM mode, you will integrate both the thing and you will study. That is the thing which we will be doing in the class. Okay. So most of the times the socio-economic outlook or budget they are considering. We got 6 questions from it. Okay. As I told you previously. These are our masters who will be there in the academy itself from 9:30 to 6 to mentor you. Whenever you have any doubt, feel free to approach them for any of the subject. For economy, you will be approaching. Feel free to approach them and clarify your doubts. They'll be teaching you through the process called reverse engineering technique and the paper called teaching paper. And we will be giving you the teaching paper also to you. Now, these are the classes that we will be having. 350 classes we will have in the entire program. In the 350 classes, economy you will be having 35 classes, and separately for budget and economic survey, you will be having 5 classes. A total of 40 classes will be there of economy starting from this Monday. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours is one class. Next, what are the credentials of CivicCentre I think you came to this orientation because somebody might have told you that yes, CivicCentre is giving good test series and CivicCentre have quality. What is that quality that somebody told you or you know about it? Because most of the times we rely on this reverse engineering technique, which is an easy technique that anyone can follow. But implementation is somewhat difficult because most of the people they don't want this background analysis to go forward. But we do this background analysis in the test series that we give, whether it is prelims or mains, in the classes that we will give. So that's why most of the reflections, like recently, Telangana Group 1 mains examination happened, in which 99 questions out of 151 questions, that includes all the papers. Like you have 24 questions in each of the paper. You need to write 15 questions. First 2 questions, you need to write it pakka in every section. That's why you have 150 questions in total, where data interpretation you will be having 30 questions in which you need to write 25. That's why in a total of 151 questions, we are feeling proud that we have made sure the student practiced 99 questions. Likewise, in prelims also, more than half of the questions we asked in the examination that we have conducted. So now we have started classes, and in these classes will also happen through reverse engineering technique and teaching paper, right? And the classes start from, as Venkat sir said, the classes start from 1st of February 2025. And the first class is economy and the second class is history. And after one module gets completed, module means 3 to 4 chapters. When once one module gets completed, another subject gets started. And then one module of that subject gets completed, another subject gets started. So that you will not get the monotony, and you will think in a holistic perspective, not from only economic perspective. In economy paper itself, you have environmental perspective. If economy gets completed all at once, then you will study environment. Then you don't have any idea about environment. Then if I teach economy, you can't study. So that's why for holistic perspective, you will be dealing in modules. Okay, 3 modules for every subject. And we hope in 2024 examination, you'll get a lot of ranks because 4,000 odd students attended Group 2 examination from CivicCentre IAS, and 3,000 odd students have attended Group 1 examination from CivicCentre IAS mains programs alone. Hope we will get good ranks. Now, this is your time to study because the government have announced that 450 Group 1 posts will be getting notified in May, I think, as you know, and 600 Group 2 posts. Let's say they get it delayed. At least by August or September, they will release the notification. Hope you start your preparation, and whenever you have any doubt, feel free to approach, and we are ready to clarify your doubts. Thank you. Any doubts? Yeah, students who are in the online or offline, if you have any doubts regarding the way that we approach the classes, tracking sheet allows us to dissect every topic which is in the syllabus tracking sheet. So we need to teach everything in the class that you will be taking upon, but we will be stressing more on those topics which got in the previous year questions. What happens is, let's say there is a chapter called inflation, and in inflation, types of inflation is more important. I will take 2 classes for types of inflation, then 1 class for consumer price index, because this topic is more important than this topic. If I cover them equally, I am leaving the most important topic, not covering it in a deeper manner, right? That's why previous year questions and reverse engineering technique and this teaching paper helps me to identify which topics are to be stressed, which topics are to be taught in as an overview. For every student or even for every individual, we need to have eagle's eye view and jackal's eye view. What is eagle's eye view? From the top, you need to see what is happening. That is called overview. And jackal's view, you need to be sure every minute aspect you observe. For some topics, you need to have jackal's view, like each and every detail of the topic you need. For some topics, you need eagle's view. Overview of the topics you need. So both the approaches that we will be taking in this teaching paper. Okay? Yeah. Students who are in the online, if you have any doubts, please let me know. Yeah. So this is the orientation session that we want to give, and tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I think tomorrow there is another orientation session on polity and history. So subject wise orientation sessions will be there for 3 days. Then from Monday classes will start. Daily answer writing will be giving you the teaching paper in which mains questions will be there and approach will be there. We want you, because it should be coming from the students' interest. We want you to write every day and send it to us, so that we'll correct them and we'll just let you know how did you write and what are the aspects that you need to improve. Every day you need to write. Every day 1 question. Then in 6 months, how many questions that you can write? 180 questions. So 180 questions means everything that you will be covering, right? So every day at least 1 question you need to write. So, and before writing the mains questions, I will be taking you the keywords session also. Let me ask you 1 question. Reserve Bank of India monitors monetary policy and the Government of India monitors fiscal policy. Examine the same question. Reserve Bank of India monitors monetary policy and Government of India monitors fiscal policy. Analyze the same question. Reserve Bank of India monitors monetary policy and Government of India monitors fiscal policy. Critically evaluate. So the same theme, it can be asked as different questions. What is the difference between all the 3? If examine is given, you need to write pros and cons. If evaluate is given, you need to see the reports and write. That's what I'll be telling you before starting the mains answer writing. Every day you need to write. I'll be giving you the mains question. This teaching paper itself has default, because if at all in some places they won't be teaching you the mains. They'll be teaching you only the prelims, or they'll be teaching you the class and they won't teach you how to write. Here, the previous year questions are inbuilt. The mains questions also. The approach is also inbuilt. You just need to see the approach and you need to write the answer. And we have a mail, TGPSC group 1 @CivicCentre.in. You can mail it and then we will be correcting them. I'll be giving you. That as simple as that. We have a process set up here. So as Dhoni or Mahatma Gandhi says, if you follow the process, results will automatically follow. Right. The means will justify the end, not the end that justifies the means. That's it. Yes. Every day there will be answer.